President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi received Sultan Mufaddal Saifuddin, the Sultan of Bohra sect, and his sons Prince of Ga'far, As-Sadiq Imad-ud-Din, Prince Taha Najm-ud-Din, and Prince Hussein Burhan-ud-Din in the attendance of Mufaddal Muhammad Hassan, the representative of the Bohra sect in Cairo. During the meeting, President al-Sisi hailed the deeply rooted relations with the Bohra sect, appreciating the role that the Bohra sect is playing in renovation and the maintenance of the historical mosques and the tombs in Cairo. He also said that he appreciates the developmental projects the sect carries out in Egypt. The President also stressed the keenness on continuing the development of mosques and offering all the facilities for the sect in this issue. For his part, Sultan Mufaddal praised the Egyptian efforts in renovating the historical mosques and expressed his keenness on increasing the numbers of Bohra members for the cultural, entertainment and the religious tourism. The meeting also touched on the latest regional developments and Cairo's efforts for de-escalation in the region. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi also met with the American President Donald Trump's senior advisor for the Arab, Middle Eastern and African Affairs, Mus'ad Boulos, in Cairo. During the meeting, President al-Sisi welcomed the international community's pledges to donate $1.5 billion American dollars in the humanitarian response to the crisis and asserted the Egyptian unwavering position over maintaining Sudan's unity and sovereignty. Over the situation in eastern Congo, the President said that Egypt welcomed the agreement between the Democratic Republic of Congo and the rebel M23 movement over enhancing the regional joint mechanism to cement the ceasefire there. President al-Sisi also reviewed the Egyptian efforts to maintain stability in the Horn of Africa and the total rejection to any measures that endanger its security. The head of state further affirmed that the Egyptian water security is an existential issue and the top priority that Cairo cannot reconcile its water rights in the Nile River. For his part, the American advisor conveyed President Trump's regards to President al-Sisi, expressing the U.S. appreciation for the strategic cooperation between the U.S. and Egypt. The meeting was attended by Foreign Minister Badr Abdel and the General Intelligence Chief, Major General Hassan Rashid. Minister of Foreign Affairs Badr Abdel met the senior advisor on the Arab and the Middle Eastern and African Affairs, Mus'ad Boulos, in Cairo. They had held talks earlier on the sidelines of the Antalya Diplomacy Forum in Turkey. Both sides reviewed the ways to strengthen the bilateral cooperation and address the regional challenges. The talks focused on enhancing the strategic partnership between Egypt and the U.S., with both sides stressing the need to maintain coordination and consultation to support stability in the Middle East and Africa. The meeting also included an exchange of views on several key developments, especially the situation in Sudan, Lebanon, and the Horn of Africa. Foreign Minister Badr Abdel also conducted phone calls with his counterparts from Oman, Pakistan, and Turkey, Badr bin Hamad al-Busaidi, Mohammed Ishaq Dar, and Hakan Fidan, respectively. The discussions focused on the latest regional developments and the efforts to contain tensions in the region. The phone calls included an exchange of views and assessments regarding the trajectory of negotiations between the United States and Iran, with emphasis on the importance of the continued coordination to ensure the success of the diplomatic path. In this context, Minister Abdel stressed that advancing the negotiation process is a fundamental pillar for reaching tangible understandings that would solidify the ceasefire, reduce the escalation, and end the war. The views converged on the fact that the diplomatic solutions and prioritizing the language of dialogue remain the only option for resolving conflicts and sparing the region the risks of further instability. Minister of Foreign Affairs, International Cooperation and the Egyptians abroad, Badr Abdulati, said that he is looking forward to holding the second round of the ceasefire talks between the United States and Iran. The top diplomat made these remarks as he met the United Nations Secretary General, Personal Envoy to the Middle East, John Arnault. Abdulati hoped that the upcoming round of talks will help reach the understandings that lead to hold the ceasefire and the war and render de-escalation in the region. He further reiterated that the negotiations are the only means to settle the ongoing conflict. The 180th humanitarian aid convoy bound for Gaza entered the Strip through the subgate of the Rafah border crossing. The convoy, part of the Egyptian organized initiative called Zaid al-Izza, is loaded with large amounts of food baskets, relief and fuel supplies, in addition to tents and winter support requirements. Meanwhile, the Egyptian Red Crescent also received the 137th group of injured Palestinians coming from the enclave through the crossing to be provided with sufficient treatment in the Egyptian hospitals. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli held a meeting with the Minister of Finance, Ahmed Kujak, and the Minister of Petroleum and Mineral Resources, Karim Badawi. The meeting followed up on the progress made on the joint files of action between the two ministries, especially for security and the strategic reserves of the petroleum products and the finances necessary to cover the market's needs. The meeting also reviewed the plan to pay the foreign companies' dues by June the 30th. In addition, the meeting tackled the timeline of the registration of 10 petroleum companies in the stock exchange. Egypt's stock market indices fluctuated in the trading session amid purchasing operations by the optimistic investors on both directions. So the benchmark EGX 30 index slid by 1.07% to close at 51,813.43 points. But the EGX 70 index for the small and medium businesses gained 0.56%, and the broader EGX 100 index also gained 0.18% at the closure. The market capitalization lost about £19 billion to close at £3,552 billion amid transactions of about £78.7 billion.